Good morning, first grade. It is Mrs. Norris again, and today we are going to take a look at our end of module writing task that you worked on yesterday and that we talked about during our live class. So anytime a writer writes anything, when you see an author that writes a book, anytime that you see the final copy of the book, like a book like this, for example, the author has gone back over their writing many times and has done something that is called editing and revising. And that is where we go back as writers and we look over our writing and we check to make sure that we've done everything correctly, right? We've used capital letters when we need to. We have used punctuation where we need to. Our story or our writing makes sense. And sometimes we look to add things to make it even better than our first time through. So we're not going to go through our writings many times the way an author does before a book is published. But we are going to practice going back over our writing and checking our work. And we're going to use something called a checklist. And if you look on the student response page on this activity, you will see the checklist where there are different categories that you will go back over and look at your writing to see, did you use complete sentences? Did you use capital letters where you need to? We'll go through that checklist together. But what you will want to grab is a copy of your end of module writing assessment. So this one was actually a paper that was in your supply box from the second pickup. So you had actually written on the actual paper. So it's this one is blank, of course, on the side, but this would be the paper that you worked on. And if you want to go ahead and grab that, and you can pause and get that paper. All right, so we are going to use this checklist that's called the narrative checklist. And remember, narrative means a story. So this will just be on this seesaw activity. So you can use the pen tool, but the way that a checklist is set up is that there are different categories. So here we see it says reading comprehension. It says I understand how people around the world get books. And then it says I have characters, I have setting, I have problem. And then you see over here that it has kind of just a straight face and then a smiley face. So this is where we have a chance to go back over our work and check to make sure that we have everything the way that it's supposed to be. Just like I said, the first time an author writes a copy of a book is not the final product of what we see in the published book. They probably do it, hundreds of times and have other people look it over, and they work on it quite a bit. So we're just going to take one look at the writing that you did yesterday to make sure that you have everything the way it should be. And this is a checklist like this where we are looking at our own work. Sometimes that can be hard, just to kind of look at your own work and grade, kind of grade yourself or give yourself a score. But that's kind of what we want to do. We want to, see how our writing is. And, like I said, nobody's writing the first time through has everything that it's supposed to. And this is just something that good writers do. So the reading comprehension, and I understand how people around the world get books. If you want to just kind of think about the stories that we've read, the My Librarian is a Camel, and if you feel like you're pretty comfortable with understanding the stories that we've read, and you feel like you understand how people around the world get books, you can go ahead and circle or color in the smiley face. If you feel like you're still a little unsure, you can do the straight line face. Really what we are focusing on for today's activity and looking at our writing are these next two categories where it says structure and conventions. So the first part of structure says, I have characters. So if you go back and look in your writing task and see that you have included a made-up character, you would color in the smiley face right here. So this is kind of like when we do those vocabulary assessments where you have to either circle the yes or no smiley face. You're just doing one for each section. Okay, so if you have a character, you would do a smiley face. If you don't have a character, you would color in the straight face. And again, this is just really for you to help your writing. And so it's really best to be honest with, how we think our writing is. And, it's okay. It's not a graded thing. It's just meant to help us improve our writing. The next one says, I have a setting. So you can go and check, do you have a setting? If you've mentioned a specific country from My Librarian is a Camel, you would color in the smiley face. If you don't have a country from that book, you would color in the straight face and think about, can we add that? Do you have the problem? If you've included the problem that the character cannot get books, you would color in the smiley face. And again, if you don't see that part in your writing, you would put the straight face. And then I have a resolution. Do you have a sentence writing about how the character has gotten books from the country that you chose as your setting? Again, you would color in the smiley face if you see the setting, or the frown, or just the straight face if you do not. Okay, so that's really looking at the actual writing. Now, the next part says conventions, and that's really where we look at the capitals and the punctuation. So I use end punctuation. So you could go through and look at your sentences and make sure that each one of your sentences ends with a punctuation mark. Most likely, because this is telling a story, they will probably most of your sentences will end with a period, but it could be something else. But you want to check and make sure that each sentence ends with a period. If you notice that a sentence is missing a period, go ahead and add it. You can correct it right on your paper. And then I write complete sentences. You want to check and make sure, does each of your sentences have a subject or who or what the sentence is about? And does it have the verb, right? You're talking about the character, they don't have books. Are those all complete thoughts? So I know that this is new and this probably is something that you haven't done before. And I know that it's a lot to look at one time in your writing, but you just kind of take it step by step through the checklist. Do you mention a character? Great, smiley face. Do you have a setting? Great, smiley face. Do you have a problem? Great, smiley face. You kind of get the idea. So this is really just to introduce you to the idea of using a checklist to check your work. Again, I know this is a lot and this is new for us. And just be honest. If you're missing something, you can go ahead and color in the straight face, but then go ahead and fix it on your paper. And if you have any questions or you need any help, just let us know. And just try to do your best and be honest. And again, it's just meant as a tool to help you improve your writing. It's not something like that we're marking you had a straight face or you missed a smiley face. It's not like that. It's just meant to be a helpful tool. All right, so just try your best. I know, again, this is new. We're just introducing the idea of being able to use a checklist and to show you how that works. So I hope that helps, and let us know if you have any questions. And again, we love listening to your stories, and you're doing a great job. Keep up the great work.